Welcome back, everyone. I assume that you all had your favorite beverages or drink to keep yourself active and motivated for next amazing lineup. Hence, it is time for an amazing workshop by Sanjeev Jaiswal. He has 12 plus year of experience in programming, application security, and cloud security. He will be giving workshop on AWS Pen Testing 101. So it is over to you, Sanjeev.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, Sanjeev, you are audible.
Okay. Yeah. Today I'm going to present a session on Pentesting AWS 101. So it will be the very basic about the Pentesting AWS environment. And this is for the people who are coming to this domain either for the first time or want to. I mean, they have the knowledge of AWS and pen testing, but they want to understand like how it is different from the traditional pen testing or the pen testing that usually we do, right? So I will try to cover some of the hands-on if time permits. So first of all, let me introduce a little bit about me. I mean, Anjali has already introduced, but this is again a formal introduction. My name is Sanjeev Jaiswal. Usually people call me Jesse. So I have 12 years of experience in application security, where I mostly deal with threat modeling, secure code review, and secure code training to the organization. And I think I'm from last 4.5 years I'm into this cloud security um, team. And whenever I get time, I have to get involved with the security automation project related to cloud security automation. And in past, I had experience on pen testing based on my tray attack framework and OS top 10. So this is the very basic about me. So let's see like what you should know in AWS before we start, talking about pen testing of AWS environment. So I assume that you there are like of use AWS account and you will to AWS console and try to understand when I say IAM, like identity access and management. So what all the things are there in AWS console related to IAM, like user group roles policies, and you understand very basic. I mean, I'm not saying like you should understand very deeply, but you understand like how IAM works. And in case if you want to add a user or a group, or you want to review a policy, you know like how to go there, what to search, and how to review. And then there are very common things like EC2 and S3, where a majority of the storage buckets will be there. And you understand load balancer, then security group, NACL, and the different topics about VPC, and responsibility of yours from the security point of view in the cloud, and what are all the responsibilities of your cloud provider like AWS here. So if I mean, don't worry if you are not much familiar about all these things, because this is just like primer. And this is just to give you an idea, like in case if you want to do pen test in AWS, these are the minimal thing that I mean, you can go ahead and read from their official document and try to understand from the security point of view, like what is the use of ELB, how ELB makes I mean your environment a little bit more secure, and how the misconfiguration of security group or NACL can lead to a data breach, right? And how this API gateway is deployed, where it is deployed, right? And usually earlier it was monolithic culture, and then service oriented architecture, and now we are seeing like microservices architecture, right? So people would be writing their serverless code using Lambda in AWS. So what are all the challenges with this Lambda? I mean, basically from the security point of view. So once you understand the very basic idea about this, then we are good to go and with this pen testing thing. And in this session, I will cover few of the IAM pitfalls. Again, it will be like a 10,000 feet overview. Like I will not try to explain any of those policies in detail, because I don't want you to get scared on the first session itself. And again, I will remind it is a 101. So just sit and relax and try to see like what I am trying to explain here. And from here, how you can go ahead and do in-depth pen testing in, with few more learnings. So then I will try to explain S3 security, and there are lots of breaches happened based on this instance metadata service. In short, it is called IMDS. Version 2 is the latest one, and because version 1 is still there, and yet people have to fix it. So there are lots of instances running over IMDS version 1. So we'll see one of the scenario, like how because of this someone can get your admin access to your AWS account. Then how this public IPs or ELBs or any endpoint can be proven vulnerable, right? And I will try to cover this much, because Lambda security and ECS security, these are kind of intermediate and advanced level of subjects. So once you understand the very basic of security misconfigurations related to IAM, S3, EC2 instances, it will be very easy for you to again figure out like what could go wrong in Lambda, right? Because to go for the Lambda security or ECS security, you have to be good at ECS as well, like the container security. So I will try to cover some of the hands-on, which will be either from the flaws.cloud example or cloud goat scenarios. And then we will see how we can use cloud goat, Pacu, and Prowler. But mostly I will be covering flaws.cloud and cloud goat scenarios. And Pacu, I will show you like how you can use it for your own purpose. But before that, make sure like you have all these installed in your terminal. Either you are using it in cloud or VirtualBox, or it's a Windows, MacBook, or Linux, does not matter. But you should have Python 3 installed, Terraform installed, and AWS CLI is set up, and Git is there, because we are going to clone few of the repositories to show you the demo, right? And the demo that I will be showing you, they are based on Python programming. And anyways, like uh, I'm much more familiar with Perl and Python, so I have chosen this kind of scenarios. And as we are talking about AWS security, AWS CLI will be very helpful for you to gather some information and see like how you can use CLI to get into your console, right? So this is what you need to check in your terminal, like which Python. So it should show you user local bin Python 3, and then check the version of Python, Git, AWS, right, and Terraform. So once these all are checked, right, we will be ready for the demo. But before going to the demo, we have few more slides to explain you like how AWS Pentesting from the normal one and the other factors. So when we go to the testing AWS, it is all about the infrastructure environment and how this application is implemented, where the data storage is there, and what are all the settings that you can see as authentication authorizations, especially in IAM. So as you do external and internal pen testing, right? So here also you have to do the same way. Environment can be hybrid and native. When I say native, it means everything is being used from the cloud perspective, like we have seen in our previous talk, right? Code commit, code deploy. So anything that you are using for deploying that application, you are using everything whatever is available in that cloud service provider, right? Either it is AWS, Azure, GCP, or anything else. Hybrid means some of the thing that you are hosting there, that you are deploying there in AWS or in any cloud service provider, and some of the things are there in your on-prem, or maybe you are using some other third party tools, and then you are deploying in AWS, right? So, and your pen testing will also differ based on what all the application settings have been there. It is using serverless Lambda, or it is using Beanstalk or Lightsail, and if it is using S3 RDS or it is NoSQL, right? IAM is anyways very common, and from the security point of view, you will see like will be lots of still the challenging part from the policy perspective, where there will be lots of permissive policies, and policies are not properly defined. Because of that, someone will gain access to your environment. Yeah, so these are some rules when you are trying to do the pen test in AWS, right? First of all, you cannot do the testing of AWS infrastructure. When I say AWS infrastructure means whatever is provided by AWS, right? Like you can see like you have installed Linux machine. I mean, you have basically deployed an EC2 instance. So whatever you are doing in that EC2 instance, you can basically pen test that, but you cannot go beyond and see like what are the underlying hardwares and can you attack those hardwares. No, you cannot do that, right? You cannot uh, do DOS attack or DDoS attack without any kind of notification, right? So you have to notify your client and AWS that this is one of the testing that we have to do for our application, and it is the mandatory part. So we need to do that, but you have to notify. You should not do any kind of port flooding, protocol flooding. So basically, something like Nmap, you should not automate and do all these things. There should not be any no network stress testing without again notification, and anything which you are not sure, you should write to AWS security simulated event at amazon.com. So what are the things that are allowed in that case? Well, you can test customer owned application, like you have deployed that application either using infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or software as a service. So whatever data is there, whatever application is deployed there, you can do the pen test to that one. So you are used to I mean, you are free to use any of the pen test tools, right? Which are not network based or DDoS kind of tools, but you are free to use your own tool like Burp Suite or Zap, or you use Kali Linux and do whatever the tools are available there. You can do that. Now these are the only 8 permitted Amazon services as of now. EC2 instance, NAT gateways, and Elastic Load Balancer as the first, and then again storage will be there, RDS, and then API gateways, whatever I wrote in the previous slide, right? Like these are the things you should understand before doing the pen test. So if you want to understand what are all the penetration testing rules and conditions from AWS, you can go through this link and can understand more from the AWS pen testing perspective. Now we'll try to see only 3 scenarios like IAM, S3, and instance metadata service here. So when I say there will be lots of IAM security issues, so the issues that I am talking are any of these kind of categories. I mean, as far as I understand, I have tried to write these 4 or 5 categories, but I mean, you are free to add more categories. But mostly, I've experienced in these kind of policies where lots of flaws are there. So you are writing a resource policy, and if you don't understand anything, you are writing get star, list star, put star, right? So you should not do that, or direct star anywhere. If you see star in your policy, I mean, from the security perspective, I'm again talking from the defense side. Like you should think, should we allow this star? Because when you are allowing this star, you are actually allowing the attackers to do more harm to your account. But anyways, if those kind of uh, you know vulnerabilities or this kind of mistakes they will not do, then we will not earn our bread and butter, right? So it's good, like let them do that, and we will do the pen test from our side. So these IAM policies, where they are writing like put star, attach star, you will see something like put user group, attach user policy, right? And a policy versioning. So there will be lots of policy versioning that you're writing. For example, 1 year back, you wrote some of the policies where it was version 1, and now in your production environment you are using version 2 of that policy, but version 1 is still there, and there were some of the things that should not be there in version 1. So you are using version 2, but what if someone go back and attach that version 1 policy to their user, right? So these kind of scenarios are there, and I think I will cover this policy versioning, and then I will show you uh, basically some of the policies. And cross account is something like you have two different accounts, and you want to access some of the resources from the cloud, from the account A to the account B. Then the person who is creating the policy, or if he is copying from somewhere, uh, if he has not a proper understanding like what are all the permissions that should be allowed from cloud account A to cloud account B, there is a mess in the policy. So the same where there will be lots of misconfigured IAM role combination. When I say role combination, imagine like there is one role where you are saying that you can attach a user, and in another role you are saying like you can attach a user in the group, right? So these two are different. These two roles are different. But what if a user, get that first role and add himself as a user, and then come back and add in the second role, right? So now, as the user is already there, he is adding in the group, and if that group is admin, you are doomed, right? So these kind of things are there, and there will be lots of poorly written policies, of course, and I will show some of the examples. So basically these mistakes happen because there are no peer review and no proper validation and reviews that can be done. And many of the people, security people, trust some tools. If that tool is not showing any alert for that policy, we think that that policy is okay, right? So this kind of scenarios would be there, and this is very common. I mean if you have learned or tried anything in AWS security, you will see the first example is that your S3 bucket, you can list that and you can get that files and folders from there, right? So that is the common example that you will see over the internet. So I will show one or two examples from that as well, just for the beginners to understand like how basically you can look for the vulnerabilities that is there in S3. So what is there is sometime you list the bucket, because let's say you have a public website and you think like anything that is there in the public website, we can make it public. So there are some of the codes or secrets or some of the things that you're writing, you wanted it only for the admin. But as your website is public, so you are not either considering that part, and you made by mistake like you're all the buckets, people can list it. And when someone can list it, they can read like what are all the files inside a bucket. So then people can go there and can download that, because if it is visible, it is a read only mode, and if it is a read only mode, anyone can download it. You cannot avoid it. So rather you should use either a CloudFront or a firewall, but direct access to S3 bucket should not be given. But still we have seen like lots of places we have S3 bucket access in a direct way. Right? And especially this is happening in two regions. One is US East one and EU West one. So I think around 40 to 50% of breaches that is happening, if you see that where those buckets were hosted, that were US East one and EU West one. Then there can be scenario like, okay, if you are AWS user, you can access that bucket, but again it is wrong, right? So it should be a very specific to the account, to the user, or to the application, right? There then you might think like, okay, if I am authorizing any user to a specific region, so attacker would not be able to figure out very easily. But again, there are lots of tools which they will run, and even if they are not aware of any of this kind of scenarios, they will get that, okay, this bucket in this region in this account is public. So people do common bucket enumeration. How they do it? So there can be test, there can be some examples like QA stage, dev stage, and for many of the websites, many of the companies' website, for example, if it is flexmind.co, if it is aliencoders.org, if it is any other abc.com, so there can be a bucket name like possibly abc.com will be a bucket name, or there can be something like test.abc.com, right? So they do that kind of enumeration and to figure out if you are getting permission denied, it means that bucket exists, and then they will try to do other way, like can we enumerate more, right? So, and then a default encryption is not enabled in many of the buckets, maybe because of various reasons. But yeah, we have seen like lots of buckets are not even encrypted by default, and you can put the objects in that bucket without any HTTPS enforcement, right? So these kind of things are there, and people write bucket policies where again they do lots of mistakes. So these are the two ways basically you can enumerate any S3 bucket. Like if you are thinking there can be a bucket name like example, or there can be a bucket name like infosecgirls.com. So you can try infosecgirls.com.s3.region.amazon.aws, right? Or alien coder. So you just type s3 dot. So the first one is virtual hosted, and this is the most recommended one by AWS. And I think path style, they said like they will deprecate in September 2020. But as there are many legacy applications are running and many people have not yet changed their path style to virtual hosted, and they are depending on that, so it will take some more time before it get deprecated. But if you are going to use a new bucket, try in this way: bucket name dot s3 dot region dot amazon aws. This will still work. Now the third one, instance metadata service version 1 and version 2. So what is this instance metadata service? Well, basically it is a service whenever you uh, when you launch any EC2 instance, right? So this will be already there, and you are allowed to use either version 1 or version 2 or both. If you want to make sure like you should not use IMDS, you have to disable it specifically, or you have to make sure like only version 2 is allowed. So those kind of scenarios, when you launch an instance, you have to see those part. Now, what IMDS does, it makes your metadata available about the instance, its networks, its IAM credentials, its security group, and other things. And that way, it makes your secret key available to the outside people. I will show this example as well. Now, SSRF attack is quite possible, which you can mitigate by installing version 2. But if it is version 1, there can be chances that you can still go ahead and look for that information gathering. This is one of the example. I mean, again, it is from the mitigation part, but I'm just showing that how these IAM policies will be there. And if you have not gone through any of the policies, so you should go through the policy and see what is the meaning of effect, action, resource, and condition. So this policy says effect is denied. It means any action which is like EC2 run instance. So if run instance API is called, and if that condition is not matching metadata HTTP tokens, which is required. So if it is not matching, it will deny you to run that instance. And whenever you are saying it is required, it is instance metadata service version 2. In version 1, there was nothing like metadata HTTP token, and it was optional, right? So when you make it required, you are making sure like that instance is enforcing IMDS version 2. So and still you will see lots of instances with the version 1. Either there will be a proxy server or some other ways. So I would suggest you to go through some of these policies to understand what is the meaning of star and what is the meaning of effect, action, resource, conditions. Because each of the topics that I'm covering here, each of the slide, it may take 1 hour to explain if I go little deep, and I don't want to scare on the first day itself, right? So these are the three things that I wanted to cover first before I go and talk more about tools and the demo, right? So if anyone has any question so far, so we can ask there, and maybe then we will go ahead and we'll look for the demo.
Uh,
Yeah,
Hi,
I
Sanjeev.
can.
Uh,
Hi, hi.
we have one question on the stream. So, Jaya Kumar asked, may I know how to check if default encryption is enabled or not?
Yes, in S3 bucket, if you want to check if it is enabled or disabled, so there are a few ways. Either you can write your own Python script using Boto 3, or through AWS CLI, and or go to the console and to particular that S3 bucket, you will see there is a bucket properties, and inside that bucket properties, it will be showing you the default encryption is enabled or disabled. So that is the very basic way. But let me see. I mean, first I will complete the demo, and if I have that time, I will show you as well, like how to basically see through the command or through going through the console and seeing, checking like if that S3 bucket is enabled by default or not. Yeah, any other questions?
No, Sanjeev, you can continue.
Okay, so basically, Jaya, when you want to see something, you just type AWS CLI command, and as it is related to S3, just type S3. So in Google, you will see the first link as a official document from the AWS, which is showing S3. Now, if you want to see the encryption, right? So default encryption of this. Okay, I think from here you cannot see. So maybe from the console, or you have to write your. There is something called S3 API. I'm not sure if I can see it here, but I will send you the either the link or the program that I have written already in some of my GitHub account. So I will show you like how you can go. Yeah, S3 API is there. You can try this one. Okay. Yeah. So let's go and try some of the examples from flaws.cloud. Okay, and then I will go through Cloud Goat and Paku as well, and I will show you like how to install Cloud Goat and from where, and then how to run some of the scenarios, right? So this is the URL for flaws.cloud. Let me go to this flaws.cloud in case if you're not aware yet. This is there'll be lots of AWS security misconfigurations that you can try to see like if you are able to get these kind of challenges, and these are the thing that is more important in AWS security and AWS pen testing, because the other things are anyways common, and whatever you were doing for your application testing, right, you will be doing the similar thing here, either it is hosted in AWS or anywhere, right? So the underlying thing which is there in the cloud are like IAM policies, the bucket, and again the bucket configuration. So everywhere related to cloud, most of the scenarios are because of these misconfigurations. So here also there is a misconfiguration, and the level 1, it says this level is buckets of 1. Maybe you cannot subdomain. So this kind of hints you will get, and what you can try to do is just copy this flaws.cloud, and then go to command line, just type host flaws.cloud. Now again, security should be your, you know, the main skills, but there are other secondary skills that you should try to be good at. One is Linux commands, then the basic networking command, and Git commands, Python programming. Right, so these are the common things that you should try, and cloud computing anyways everyone is learning nowadays. So these are the five tech skills that you should be covering if you want to excel in any security domain, especially from the tech perspective. So let's try this host command. I got the IP address. What I will do is, so is this font okay, or if anyone want to make it a little bigger? I think it is visible and people can see it there. So now with that IP address, I came to know that there is a S3 bucket which is hosted in US West 2 region, as I was explaining, right? Like US East 1 or US West 2 or US West 1. These are the common, the regions where people deploy. So there is an S3 bucket, okay, which is deployed there. And let's see if your AWS is, able to get you this. So when you try to write a command, so first command for AWS is, just to showcase you, AWS CLI is there, right? So whatever I said, like which AWS, and then AWS hyphen version, all these things you should check and it should be working. Now, AWS is the one, and then the next one. What is the main command that you want to try? So I'm trying S3. In S3, what you are trying? I'm trying to list a bucket, right? And I have to put a profile name. So as I'm not going by profile, then it will take the default one. Let me see if I'm able to see any of the buckets which is there in uh, this folders of mine. So this is my S3. Now what I will try is AWS S3 LS, and then just like you have FTP, HTTP, and other protocols, so we have something like S3 here. So if you type flaws.cloud/S3, this way you will, I mean, if you have the permission, right, you will be able to list the buckets, S3 buckets, which is hosted in flaws.cloud. Let's see if we have the permission and we get it there. Yeah, you see in this flaws.cloud level 1, these are the pages which are hosted, right? And I'm more interested in this. So what I will do is, let's go there. I will type this, okay? And now this is like, okay, instead of listing it, you can do one thing. You can cp it. Right? So I'm going to copy it. Now I can copy, and as an output, I can write the absolute or relative path, or maybe you just type hyphen so that it will display the output here in your console itself. Let me try this if it works. Yes, it worked. And now the second level hint is this one. So you can directly go there, right? Again, you go to the browser and you just type this. So you are into the level 2, right? Now in level 2, what it is telling is the next level is a fairly similar, which means again, it is again about S3 bucket with a slight twist. You are going to need your own AWS account for this. Well, I think before this, let me show you the other way for this flaws.cloud version 1. As I was showing you in the PPT, like you can just type s3.amazonaws.com, right? If you type this, and if you have the full permission, now you see, this is what in their bucket policy they have written, like list bucket. And with this list bucket, I'm able to see all the file name, hint1, hint2, logo.png, and the same way I got this, right? So if I again, if I simply type it here, right? See, congrats, you found the secret file. From here itself, I can go to level 2, right? So there are different ways. As a beginner, you might find it little difficult, but slowly when you learn more about AWS and you learn more about the how to figure out that what are all the ways you can look for this kind of information, it will be a little bit easier for you. For me, what I try is I try some of the Linux commands, and then what I try is if s3.amazonaws.com works for that website, and otherwise I use AWS CLI command. So now in the level 2, it is saying like you are going to need your own AWS account for this. And so that's fine. Let's go. I have anyways put my AWS credentials in my local machine so that I can run that. So if you are not aware of like how to run that or how to configure your AWS CLI, so please let me know. I will share you the link. Or anyways, if you just do the Google, so AWS has officially written that. And in one of my video, I have also explained this. So I will show you that as well. Now, hints will be there, 1 2 3, as you saw in level 1. But I will suggest, like, instead of going to the hint, first try by yourself and see if you can get it there. And if not, there's no harm in looking for the hint, so that you will be aware about any new scenarios, like, okay, if there is a scenarios like this, what we can do. So now this is the link, right? Okay, let me copy this. And what if I go again, and if I try again the similar way, right? And because I have already taken care of the credentials and I have my free account available there. So if I don't type hyphen profile default, it will take care of the default one. So let's go and see if I'm able to do that. Invalid bucket name. Oh, sorry, I had written this HTTP. So basically S3 itself is a protocol and HTTP is another protocol. So we should not write like this. Rather, I should write like this. Now you see, it is similar, right? Just like level 1, but now it is like authorized. This bucket will be visible only to the AWS user. And as I am the AWS user, but not, of course, the AWS user of this account, right? So what I can do here is, can I go again like this, s3.amazonaws.com, and can list this? Possibly yes or no. You see, access denied. So publicly it is not visible, but through this command line, it is visible for me because I have that AWS account. So I cannot copy the link from there. But what if I write something like this here? And if I go there, and instead of ls, let's say I will again say cp, and this one. Download failed, 404 head object not found. Okay, I wrote htm. That's my mistake. Yeah. So you see, you got the level 3. This way you can try level 1, level 2, and level 3. So there are like till level 6. Already I have explained this in my YouTube channel, where you can just look for this AWS security videos, go to this full list, and you will see the solutions for all of these. But before going to the solution from here, I will suggest, like, try by yourself. And if you are not able to get anything, then come here and look for the explanations. Right. So this is the one thing, and this is the very good example again, from this pyot.com. So there are a few websites where you can go and look for the examples. Here you see AWS star action assume role, which means whoever is AWS user can assume the role in this account, which is again wrong, right? So this kind of policy you should verify, and you should check. So this is a vulnerable policy. This is the one example. Now we will try to go for this. Like I have already gone through this S3 scenario, and this reverse proxy with instance metadata service version 1 enabled, that we will try to see from Cloud Goat. So Cloud Goat again is it's a vulnerable by design application, just like you have DVWA, damn vulnerable web application, or DVNA, like for the Node.js application, broken web application, BWA by OWASP, mutilate data 2, and there are many other, right, where you can look for your pen testing practice online or offline. So the similar way for this AWS, it has Cloud Goat, right? So we'll go to this Cloud Goat, and I will show you like how basically you can run all these things. So go to this Rhino Security Labs Cloud Goat, and here clone the repository, okay, and do all these 4 steps, whatever is written here. And anyways, I have explained and shared in this PPT as well, so that it will be easy for you to see like how you can run this kind of repositories. Now, what I will do is I will go to this Cloud Goat directory where I have already cloned. In case you want to know like how to clone Git repository, it is git clone command. You can search in Google as well. And then there are some requirements that you have to install before making sure like Cloud Goat is executable and working, right? And then the first time when you run with this config profile, it will set the config profile name, and it will whitelist your IP with this command. So these two are mandatory commands before you go ahead and do that. So let's go and see these things in the command line. So now you see I have already did the git clone to this Cloud Goat. You can see git status is working. If I do git remote -v, it will tell you that it is from Rhino Security Lab cloud.got, right? So this is there. Now, as I have cloned the repositories and I'm already there, I have run all the requirements. But again, for your purpose, I will just show you, and I will run this again. As everything is done, so you see requirement already satisfied. So this is already done. Now I have to make sure like it is executable. So if you see this, it is already executable. X is the executable bit, right? So this is already there. Now I have to configure a profile. So you see, every time you have to run this script only now. So you can run this script by writing Python 3 and then Cloud Goat, or if you are coming from a Linux background, just do like this: Cloud Goat.py, and then it is a config, right? And in config, what you are going to do, you are going to first create your profile, as I have already created, but I'm just typing this command for you. See, it specifies a default profile name of default already. Would you like to specify a new default profile name configuration? No, I'm okay with that. And now I'm just going to do this whitelist -auto. What it will do is it will create a whitelist.txt, and it will add my IP address. So this is my local machine IP address, right? If you see, there is a file called whitelist.txt, which it created, and it will have my IP address, right? So now we are all set to run those commands. But before running the command again, what we will do is we will see like what are all the scenarios that you can deploy from this Cloud Goat, right? Because this will make the things easier. Right? You don't need to go online. You can just learn AWS security pen testing offline as well. So what I will do here is list. So instead of writing deployed, undeployed, I will write all. So there are 3 options: all, deployed, undeployed. And it will tell you here the deployed scenarios is 0, undeployed scenarios are 9, which means there are 9 scenarios that you can practice with this vulnerable application, right? So we have seen this cloud breach S3 there. I mean, already it is similar to that S3 bucket, right? So, but here going there, it will be through the IMDS proxy version. So what I will try is, I will just deploy this scenarios. So cloud go.py, and then I will create which one. So you have to write the scenario name. Let me copy this scenario name and I will type this and I will write this. Now, that is what I was telling you to have your Terraform and other installation ready. So this will run for few more seconds and it will set up uh, um, your AWS account with all the necessary resources. So what are all those? Let's go to Cloud Goat scenario wise, right? There were lots of scenarios, and this scenario is cloud breach, right? This one. So let's go to visit scenario page. Sometime internet is very slow. It will happen especially when you're showing some demo. Come on. Okay, not a problem. So this page will show you like what is the scenario. It will explain you with the image and it will write also the steps and it will have the hint as well. Those steps will be enough for you to understand like what are all the steps